Hello everyone, this is Gary Gray and today I'll be reviewing Unbox Newbie Adventure for the Nintendo Switch on behalf of the Nintendo dads. Newbie Adventure appealed to me massively when I first heard about it, bringing back the collectathon 3D platforming that I adored growing up through the 90s, and adding a little bit of a more physics-based gameplay really appealed to me. So Newbie is a self-delivering cardboard box working for a company called the Global Postage Service, or GPS for short. GPS invented self-delivering packages to save themselves from bankruptcy, so it's up to Newbie to prove his worth. Diving straight in, Unbox throws you into a small training ground that also acts as a hub world, and then you're shipped away to a tropical island to start your adventure for real. Controls are relatively simple, which is great. From the basic walk, jump and camera controls, there's also an instant respawn button which is incredibly handy, especially if you're trying to do those tricky platforms. But the main gimmick or quirk to Unbox is, well, the ability to unbox, which basically is like a standard double jump, except you can do it up to 6 times, as long as you possess other boxes which you can collect throughout the map. Now these boxes also act as a life bar. Every time you get hit, you'll lose a box. Get hit when you've got no more spare boxes and it's game over. Levels are constructed in a way that you can roam freely and at your own pace and just explore. Rolling around, there's all kind of collectibles. Some are in plain sight and some are cleverly hidden, while the main collectibles, stamps, can be obtained by doing missions or can be just found around the map. From races, wiping out all enemies or delivering certain items to another box, missions are pretty straightforward. Challenge levels on these missions though can range from being incredibly easy to incredibly hard with almost no in between. And while some challenges might be fair even if they're still difficult, some other challenges can just feel like they're pure punishment. One particular mission springs to mind when talking about the difficulty. Climbing a big snowy mountain that's covered in baddies sounds hard enough when you're a cardboard box, but some of the really small platforms can be a little bit tedious to get across, but then you'll fall off and hit a lower checkpoint than the last one you hit, and it cancels out the last one, and that is your new checkpoint, which means you'll be doing that mission almost as though you're back from the very start. This happened to me a couple of times, which caused me to rage quit and then go back to it later to do the mission almost in one. For all the great parts that Unbox offers, unfortunately it comes with a big downside. It's got its fair few problems. Overall performance is some of the worst I've ever seen on the Nintendo Switch, from blurry visuals, broken physics, graphical popping, frame rate drops, invisible platforms and some irritating constant noises when items hit the ground. It may be hard for some people to get past these problems. Other systems don't seem to have these flaws in the game, or at least not to this extent. From what I've seen, they run pretty smooth, and as I said before, I was really excited for this game. I'd watch gameplay footage, so I've seen a fair bit of how it runs on those other systems. It just looks like the Switch port is a little bit under par. Just to add though, these problems were more apparent when playing it on the handheld. Multiplayer has its shining moments, and it boasts a fair few modes from racing, battling and collecting. If you're playing with someone who's a similar skill level, it can be great fun. You'll find yourself screaming at each other and having a blast. Unfortunately though, there's not much in the way of handicaps, so if you're playing with somebody who's drastically not as good as you, or if it's the other way around, then you might struggle with this one just a little bit. So overall, Unbox is a charming 3D platformer that really speaks to a younger audience, and could be a great one to play as a family if you're passing a controller around. For an older audience, the technical limitations may be a little bit too off-putting, but if you can see past that, there's a fun, imaginative, collect everything game that rings straight back to the 90s. Unbox really just needs a little bit of a performance patch, and if that happens, we'll be sure to keep you up to date with it. So for more reviews, unboxings, impressions and everything else Nintendo, stay tuned to the Nintendo Dads.